should not have checked her phone. We have been together for 4 years and have lived together for most of that time. We initially dated for a few months, then broke up, and eventually got back together. Although we are not married, it often feels like we are. And we even tell people that we are. From an outsider's perspective, we have a very strong and healthy relationship. However, there are times when I do not give her enough attention or come up with fun things for us to do. I am currently juggling 2 businesses and a new job from a friend, and the stress is taking a toll on me. When I have free time, I tend to prefer relaxing at home rather than going out and being social with my girlfriend. But lately, I have not been very happy. Even during this rough patch, we went out a couple of nights ago and she expressed her love for me multiple times, saying how lucky we are to be together. However, her flirtatious nature bothers me. I have struggled to fully trust her because of this and some issues from the beginning of our relationship, although those occurred before we were exclusive. I have never been jealous or mistrustful in any of my past relationships, so I feel like I may have valid reasons for my concerns. A few months ago, I stumbled upon this website when her sister got divorced and I was researching information about their situation. I have been a silent reader until today, and I have read so many stories that made me grateful for my own relationship. However, everything changed last night. My girlfriend fell asleep on the couch, and on a whim, I decided to go through her phone. I would not have done this if I had not been influenced by the opinions on this website that spouses do not have the right to keep secrets from each other. My girlfriend has always been very protective of her privacy, especially when it comes to her phone. The first person on her text message list was unknown, with no name stored and only a phone number. However, out of the 2,000 messages on her phone, 800 were from this person. As I read through them, my heart sank. It was a guy, and their conversations were inappropriate, with provocative photos being shared. Although they were not explicit, it still hurt to see my girlfriend's butt and a pair of sexy panties or the guy's back muscles and shoulder tattoo. Most of their conversations were normal, but there were some instances where he expressed his desire for her and talked about wanting to be intimate with her. It was not endearing to read, but I tried to brush it off. However, there was one exchange where she asked him about his day and he mentioned being busy. She then asked if she should send him a photo for motivation, but she did not end up sending one. I later found out that she met this guy about a year ago at a catering event, and they have been texting ever since. A couple of months ago, we had a similar issue with this guy, and it caused problems in our relationship. Betty went, while we were watching TV, her phone received a text message. I handed her the phone and noticed that the name was a man's name that I did not recognize. When I asked her about it, she immediately snatched the phone out of my hand and became defensive. She got very defensive. I felt it had to be something inappropriate and went off, not screaming or yelling, but telling her how shocked and disappointed I was in questioning our relationship. She ended up deleting all of the messages before I had a chance to ask to see them, and within a day or so, we made up, and she promised to never contact him again. Really, that didn't happen. She says she's seen him at one other catered event and ran into him out of the blue at the farmer's market 2 months ago. She says those are the only times she's seen him and has never done anything physical. Nor would she. I do believe her, despite how everyone here will tell me that where there's smoke, there's fire. And they've definitely done it. There was no mention whatsoever in the texts of any kind of plans to meet or talk about past meetings. I pretty much always know where she is if she's not with me. And when she does caterings, she usually has my little brother or a mutual friend working with her. Also, she's not a very good liar. I can usually tell when she's lying. When I started reading, I was stunned. I felt dizzy and disoriented, and like I was in another universe. I could hardly believe it. It's so hard for this to register in my brain because it doesn't fit with the way she talks and acts with me. As if she loves me completely and is all mine. I tried to call him from her phone a few times, but he wouldn't answer. I tried again today from my phone and with the number blocked, but no answer. While I just said I don't think they did anything physical, I still can't get the thought out of my mind. I mean, with only her word to go on, how can I help but wonder? Right now, I feel like total crap every time I think about it. She slept on the couch last night and has been crying. She's apologized profusely and really doesn't want to break up. I'm not giving her the silent treatment, but I'm not initiating conversation and don't want to touch her or do things with her. I do deep down, but I feel it's wrong after the betrayal. It really sucks though, because I'm going against deeply ingrained behavior that makes me feel good. I hate this, but I can't just act like things are okay. I've got to figure out where to go from here. I want it married. I want to have kids, and I wanted it to be with her. I wish so much for this one thing about her to be different. It was totally wrong of me to neglect her, but I'm aware of it and have every intention of changing it. But how can I marry someone I can't trust to remain faithful through the hard times? Marriage won't always be easy. She has plenty of problems stemming from her childhood, controlling father, and she admits it. She says she's not sure why she participated in this attention-seeking behavior, but it did provide some measure of good feelings which she felt she needed. I'm sure it's related to her childhood. She also says her self-esteem is low, and this was one way of getting self-esteem boosts and feeling desired. I can deal with issues, but I've got to have trust. How can you regain trust? I know how I'm going to sound when I say this. As I myself have read many other people's threads and thought, man, dump her. There are many more fish in the sea, but she really is special. I've dated plenty of women, and I'm not blindly enchanted. I've never been with anyone else I thought would make a better mother for my children. She's a really great person. Everyone who meets her loves her. So many people have told me how lucky I am and said, I better hurry up and marry her. We both have a lot invested in each other, and I am still madly in love with her. She's very attractive as well. This is a really tough situation, and I appreciate everyone's input. I feel for your situation, but let's boil down the facts. 1, you aren't married to her or her to you. Even if you've been together for several years, you aren't even engaged. Does she have a duty to be loyal to you and your relationship? I'm not so sure about that. If you are engaged, which means there is a commitment to marry and a date set for the wedding, it would be something more solid. This brings me to the next point. What are her desires for marriage? If she's enjoying her singleness and these other men who want to be with her, she may not be ready for marriage yet. In the best case scenario, you get engaged, and she ends things with the other guy. In the worst case scenario, you get engaged, and she continues to chat and flirt with him, possibly even having a last fling before marriage. Which of these two extremes do you see her leaning towards? What would that tell you about her character? She may be the right person for you, but you have to realize that you may not be the right person for her. And it seems like she isn't ready to make a serious commitment and settle down. Dating should only be used, instead of living together, to determine someone's suitability for marriage. If you've been living together, you already have 2 strikes against a future marriage. The type of behavior she is displaying with this other guy is strike 3. She should be out. Good luck with this, and I hope it works out for both of you. She is only upset because you caught her. Otherwise, she would be fine with it as she has been. I would leave. 2 years later, Up responds. As much as I didn't want to believe it, most of what you guys said was accurate. But we started going to counseling, and I stayed with her until now. It's been rocky, and I've been let down and outraged several times over honesty issues, yet I stuck around. I guess because I'm stupid, lazy, scared, or all of the above. With any previous messages being deleted, I was able to look through the logs and history and saw that there had been a 9-minute phone call at 3:07 p.m. and 18 messages exchanged between them from 9:30 a.m. to Lelinsen and 8 messages yesterday. I sent some messages using her phone, something about the last picture I sent him, and got confirmation that she had sent him pictures, though apparently she had already deleted them. I found plenty of selfies of her on her phone and never thought much of them because she also sends them to me. Apparently, I got on her Facebook and found messages between the 2 of them dated March 20th. This was right around the time when the power button on her phone was malfunctioning. I bought a new one, and in a few days when it arrived, I took apart her phone, soldered in the new button, and it was fixed. Used the messages sex. Had her something is seriously wrong with my phone. I know what you think it might be. Is there a warranty? I've no idea, but for the short term, no messages. Okay, no worries, but that is going to suck. I'm going to miss you. Me too. Hopefully, I can figure it out. Is really good at these things. So between the 2 of us, I think there will be hope for it. Clearly, she was worried about him sending messages after her phone was completely inoperable, and she was unable to delete them. Then, me repairing the phone and finding the messages before she had a chance to delete them. This also shows that he knew about me, which he denied when I texted him from my number and straight up asked him. Also, they have been inappropriately chatting for weeks at a minimum. But whatever, he lives a few states away, and they met on a business trip a few months ago. I don't think there has been anything physical, but I don't trust anything now. This is so disgusting, gut-wrenching, and downright crappy. Don't worry, I have no delusions. I am completely done with her. Thank God I kept the doubt in my mind these past couple of years and didn't marry her. Right now, I want to post the pictures I took of her phone showing the messages and the proof of further messaging, as well as the picture I took of the Facebook messages. I want to expose her to everyone, but I wonder if it's a bad idea to do so. What negative repercussions could come of it? Also, while we are not married, we live together and have for years. I pay for almost everything, though I bought the house with no help whatsoever from her. I pay for everything except for the water, electric, and gas. I've even paid her car note a few times recently because she's been low on money. I actually paid the utilities last time, a couple of months' worth when they were really past due. Also, her mom is currently staying with us for care after a hip surgery. But whatever, I showed her mom the messages and she was disgusted as well. She says she doesn't understand because she always speaks highly of me and about how she really wants to work out all of our issues and she only wants to be with me. What's the best way to separate our lives? This just sucks. I'm getting older, 35, and I'm ready for marriage and to have kids. I really wanted it to be with her because she has so many good qualities and they're really good. But this dishonesty and cheating is a deal breaker. I feel like it's back to the starting board. And I'm running out of time if I want kids. But like I said, I'm done with her. So despite those feelings, I will move on. So I guess to sum it up, I have 3 questions. To me, what do you think about exposing her on Facebook? Are there any negative repercussions? Tweets? What's the best way to separate our lives considering the above details? 3. This sucks. I hate feeling like this and having to get back in the game. I'm scared of not being with her. I know the memories of all the good times are going to tear me apart as they come. Despite everything, I highly doubt she's ever touched him physically. She does this for attention to augment her crippled self-esteem. Not that it makes it okay or anything. Anyways, he's uglier than me, fatter than me, balder than me. Her mom is temporarily staying with us post-hip replacement surgery. And I showed her everything on the phone. She was disgusted and shocked. Summary of summary, I never married her and I'm done with her. It's over. Comment, everything you said sounds like it's coming straight from your heart. Unfortunately, the body part that does reasoning and thinking is your brain. Learn to ignore your heart. Your girlfriend cheated on you and completely broke your trust. Even if it wasn't physical, which I would assume it might have been based on what you found, it's still cheating. Flip the page and ask her how she would feel in your shoes. I think you did the right thing by looking at her phone. She gave you every reason to do so as you already caught her out initially and knew. Initially, I knew something was up. The next natural step would be to investigate further. People who are extremely private are the ones to be concerned about. If one has nothing to hide, there is no reason for privacy. Of course, this is only to an extent. My advice, straight from my brain since my heart has no say, is to assess your current relationship. Tell her exactly what she did wrong and end things for good. It's no future contact, no exceptions. And when you do, also ask her what you did wrong in the relationship. See if you can learn from your mistakes. I have the feeling that being a workaholic may have been an issue, but that's just a guess. Find out and pay attention to that in your next relationship. A middle ground option would be to seek counseling and see if that helps. Unfortunately, once trust is broken, it is very difficult to repair, and most relationships fail in the end. It's interesting how you described her as truly special. This is a prime example of thinking with your heart. If she truly was special, she would never have had an intimate relationship with another man. A good, intelligent woman would come to you and communicate about her troubles and any potential issues that could lead to her leaving. Someone who is truly special would also let you go and take time to heal before jumping into another relationship. She is quite the opposite of special, in my opinion. Assuming you do end things, remember that it's natural to feel terrible if you still love her. It will take time to heal and move on, but in the end, it's for the best. Don't start dating again until your love for her is completely gone. Are tuned to sexualies. In time, you will be much better off. Good luck! Responds, I already told her it's over. I was actually pretty upset when I confronted her and said a lot of things. I still stand by most of them, like telling her how selfish she is. But one thing I said is really bothering me. I called her a piece of crap. She immediately said, you're right, I am a piece of crap. This is really tearing me up inside. As wrong as she was for what she did, I really wish I hadn't said that. I haven't talked to her much since then and haven't addressed it, but I want to apologize for it. However, I don't want her to think I'm forgiving her. And ending things completely will be a long process. I bought the house we're living in completely by myself, with no help from her. She started her own business a year or two ago, and since then, I've been mostly supporting us, especially in the last several months after she lost her best client. She pays for the water, electric, gas, and her car note, and probably half of the food. But I pay for everything else: mortgage, taxes, insurance, auto insurance for both of us, internet, TV, her phone, my health insurance, life insurance with her as the beneficiary, and my father. I also cover all expenses when we go out or go on vacation. I've also paid her car note for the last 2 months and recently paid 3 months worth of utilities when she let them get way behind. I also gave her $160 to pay back a friend she had borrowed money from who was requesting repayment. As I mentioned before, her mom is temporarily staying with us after a hip surgery so we can take care of her while she heals. The house is fully mine, full of her belongings. Her father passed away a couple of years ago and left 3 large storage rooms filled with items. It was a monumental effort to clean them out, and now she has a ton of possessions. She cannot afford to rent a place and move out. Despite my anger towards her, I still love her and do not want to be overly harsh. However, I am committed to ending this stay, and I know it will be a difficult battle for me. I may need to read threads here every day for a while. Do you have any suggestions for the logistics of our split? I know she will want to try living with a roommate for a while, but I do not think it would be a healthy or successful arrangement. I will also speak with an attorney. There is a free service here where you can call and explain your issue, and they will find an appropriate attorney for you and provide you with their contact information. The attorney will then offer a free 30-minute consultation. Let me explain my situation. I am ready to settle down, get married, and have children. In fact, I feel like time is running out and she won't even stop drinking. It seems like our relationship was going nowhere. Whenever I would pull back a little, she would become unhappy, and her reaction would be to get angry and constantly second-guess my choices and decisions. She always had to argue with something I said, perhaps in an attempt to prove she is smart, which only pushed us further apart. Then since the other every few months, she would do something to rip the band-aid off of the wound of dishonesty and cause me to lose trust. Most recently, when I was finishing up at work and we were supposed to watch a movie at our friend's house, I called her at the usual time, but she did not answer. I went home and she was not there. I called again, but still no answer. I ate something and called again an hour later, but still no answer. I went ahead and went to our friend's house to watch the movie, but when I called again, her phone went straight to voicemail as if it was turned off. Our friends did not know where she was, and I called a couple of other friends, but nobody had heard from her. I was already angry because it is not okay to disappear without communication, especially when we had planned. Our friends were worried, but I told them I was not. This was typical behavior for her. She was probably doing something or with someone that she did not want me to know about. They could not believe it. Finally, she called back halfway through the movie, but I let it go to voicemail. I finished the evening with our friends and went home. It turns out I was right. She ran into an old friend of hers with whom she had slept with a handful of times. He invited her to have drinks at a neighborhood restaurant, and she went. I asked her why she ignored my calls. She said her phone died. I called B's because it did not die until after at least 3 of my calls. She then said she could not hear it in her purse. I asked why she did not call me then. She said it slipped her mind. I called BS again and pushed harder. Finally, she admitted that she knew I would not approve, and she did not want to be embarrassed by my reaction on the phone and forbid her from going. Then she quickly tried to go back to saying she forgot. She could not hear her phone and it died. That is bullcrap. She selfishly chose something she wanted over respecting me and our relationship, and she is lying. The right thing to do would have been to suck it up and call me or answer the phone. She should have told me she wanted to go have drinks with him and let me react however I wanted to react, then move on with life. Even if she had said, I want to have drinks with him and I am going to, even if I said no. Even if you say no, it would have been infinitely better than the dishonest approach. Anyways, that and 1 or 2 other dishonest situations kind of marked the beginning of the end. And after each one, I would feel like I had been lied to, Yet, she still claimed she'd done nothing wrong and certainly not been dishonest. So I got no kind of closure, and it pushed me farther away to where I didn't want to sleep with her because she didn't deserve it. She disrespected me, still claims she did nothing wrong, so I'm still not happy with her, but I'm expected to just sweep it under the rug until it goes away. I'm not worried about finances. In fact, I expect my monthly expenditures to decrease after she's gone. I'm dead set on finally ending this. I made that decision before coming up dating. I know it's going to be really difficult for me and really sad. That's why I'm here, to keep me thinking logically about this, and because it helps to talk about what's causing anguish. But by all means, don't believe it until you see it. You will see it though. She's out of town working until Sunday, so we really haven't talked since the confrontation. Sunday evening is going to be tough. I'm gonna stand firm. There will be tears, and it'll make me sad, because as much as I hate her, I still have love for her. A day later today has been better, busy with work all day and with friends through the evening. Some of the anger is subsiding, and I'm thinking more like my typically logical self. I can see there's a good chance for reconciliation, and I should ask her for that. Just kidding about the last part. The anger subsiding and more logical thought is here. I know this is gonna rub some of the more hurt people here the wrong way. Being an ex-addict and alcoholic myself, recovering, I suppose, I can kind of identify with her. The selfish desire to feed emotions at all costs. Struggling for scraps of self-esteem in the gutter, metaphorically, and I can even empathize with the hurt I was causing her. Really, this is the breaking point of something that has been going on longer. I have been withdrawing from her and not giving her what she needs, and I would probably have felt bad too if the tables had been turned. However, I would not have turned to lies, deceit, and cheating. I don't know how I would have responded to my partner treating me the way I did her. Perhaps a relapse with drugs or alcohol. Who knows, but definitely not cheating. I now see her for who she really is without deluding myself, and there's no reason I would want her in my life. I deserve to be with an honest person. Regarding me feeling bad about calling her a piece of crap, I've been taught that it's poor form to criticize someone by calling them a name, and it's better to criticize their actions. Believe it or not, as hard as it is possible for people to change. A person can't really change themselves, but they can change their actions. So calling someone a name really just hurts them emotionally, with no gain other than maybe a little temporary satisfaction for you. But criticizing their actions will initially give them the same effect, but leaves them an avenue to redeem themselves by changing the offending actions and thereby becoming a better person. So I do feel bad when I tear down someone, just to make myself feel better, even when they deserve it. Anyways, I'm now trying to take the emotion out of it and treat this like business. The two of us just don't work, and we're not compatible. Just work, and we're not going to in the foreseeable future. So it's over. The next order of business is to move on to the next stage of my life, which means getting her out of here with the least amount of stress, drama, and cost, should it come to that. I'm still young and naive, but one thing I've learned in business is not to do or say anything that doesn't benefit you more than the damage that could be done by possible repercussions. Emotional satisfaction doesn't count for much benefit. So if my goal is to get her out of here, being rude about it is likely not going to be the best way. You catch more flies with honey, as the saying goes, though it's a flawed analogy since rotting meat would attract the most flies. For instance, instead of just telling her to leave by XYZ, maybe I could help her find a place. I haven't thought this through yet, but my dad lives on the other side of town with an empty bedroom. He's also currently storing many of the more valuable items from her dad's estate in his living room and has been asking her to figure something out for them. Perhaps she could stay with him for a while and also sort out her possessions issue at the same time. Just an idea, maybe a bad one. And no, it's not to keep her close. I rarely go over there. Thank you for the reminder for the board. I'm getting one tomorrow. I'll also be seeing a lawyer on Monday morning. A week later, she's out as of yesterday. Her part-time job is now asking her to work full-time, so it seems like things are falling into place to help my situation. This job is in a town 1 hour away, and her friend's mother has a house there that she had just started looking for a renter for. It may take some time to get all of her belongings out, but I realize now that I wasted a lot of time and mental energy over the past week or so. I kept trying to distance myself from her mentally, avoiding and ignoring her, but somehow she kept dragging me into these pointless discussions. She still claims she wants to salvage our relationship and has asked if I'll come out to visit her. I told her she just wants the comfort of familiarity and doesn't want to be alone while she's actively searching for her next victim. I told her to deal with it and leave me out of it. I don't think anything I've ever said has registered with her, except for anything that may have hurt her feelings. She's a liar and a cheater. She thinks she knows what love is, but I believe she's simply insane. I would never lie or cheat on someone I love. It just doesn't make sense to me how someone could think that's acceptable. And on the first day she was back in town, she was talking about how she only wanted me in her life and was willing to fight for us. But I had evidence that she was still talking to the other guy. So I asked her to be completely honest and asked her some questions. And of course she lied. This only solidified my decision. But I also asked her if she would call the other guy in front of me and tell him in no uncertain terms that they were to never speak again. And she said she would. So I told her to do it. I could hear the pain in both of their voices, but it was done. Asking her to do this when my mind was already made up may have been childish, but I felt they both deserved it. And just for good measure, I sent his wife a Facebook message detailing all of my findings, with a screenshot attached showing all of their calls. Text history for a single day. I offered much more evidence and photos if she wanted, but she didn't respond and instead blocked me. I don't know what's up with that, but I guess I don't really care. 2 weeks later, she moved the bulk of her stuff out this weekend. She left a couple of things, like the couches, until I can get my own, and I agreed to move them when I'm done with them. She stayed here a couple of nights while packing, and other than one discussion, which was really just a rehash of all the same things we've already said a million times, we were both pretty calm, respectful, and nice to each other. I do still find her quite attractive physically, and she is a great person in many ways. There's no doubt about that. But she's fatally flawed when it comes to being in a relationship with me. There are plenty of wonderful and beautiful women out there, and some of them are even honest and don't cheat. I know a lot more about myself, what I need and want, and now I have the confidence and willpower to not settle for anything less. There is a lot of good in her, and even through the pain and betrayal, I can see it. I also see the hurt I've caused her, and it makes me sad. She just wanted me to love her and care for her. I can think of times over the past months when she said, "I can feel that you don't love me, or even like me. You don't want me around, and it hurts." I'd say that's not true. I do love you, but the truth is that I was distant and withdrawn, and she felt it. Of course, a large reason for that is the trust issues I've had with her. Doing print buddies, distrust and resentment built up. I wasn't happy, withdrew, and that made her sad. It was one big, crappy snowball that finally got to the bottom of the hill. So yes, I can still see the good in her, but we can't be together. The lying and cheating sealed the deal. You guys enjoyed this short story. Although I still loved this woman, I know deep down I can't be with someone who keeps lying to me. Have you dealt with a partner similar to this? Subscribe, hit the bell, and comment down below. Check out the recent other love TV stories and stay safe out there.